Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Excel Freak. You would remember that we had spoken about one function which is known as SUMIF, and wherein you have more than one condition we use the SUMIFs, which is IFS. Now similar to these kind of functions, we have functions to count in a particular range or in a given range the number of times something would have happened. For example, if I look at the data that's given on the screen, it has certain transaction dates, categories, the type of transaction that took place, and the quantity, price per unit, and the amount mentioned. Now, for a particular category, if I want to know how many times was some kind of transaction done under this category name, then I will be using Countif as a function. When you have to evaluate more than one condition, for example, in this scenario, if I say my category is A type and the transaction type should be buy. So in that case, I have two criteria to match, and herein I'll be using Countifs, if with a S. Let's look at it. It's very easy and similar to the SUMIF that we had done in the past. So here I am required to find for my category the number of times the transaction has taken place. So it's only one criteria or one condition here, that the category type should be LTC/INR. So it is equal to Countif, open parenthesis. Now it's asking me what is my range where this criteria lies in the main table. So my range is this column category. So I'm selecting my cell C2, pressing the control key and the shift key and the down arrow key. I'll end up selecting the entire column till the end of the range. Now the second thing, once I put in the comma, it's asking me is what is the criteria that you want to count the number of transactions for. Here in this case, the criteria is mentioned here in my cell J7, which is LTC/INR. I select this and close my parenthesis and hit enter. So it's saying 542 times the transaction would have taken place. Let's apply a quick filter to check if the number is correct. And I select LTC over here and just doing a count. So it's saying 543, it's taking into account the category header also written. So if I remove that and I just take this, it's 542. So means the Countif function is working absolutely correctly. Now, since I've written this formula once, I don't need to again write the formula. I can just go ahead and fix my range over here using the F4 key. And this J7, I don't need to fix it because I want it to change to J8 because I want to look at the count for the next category as well. And I can just go ahead and copy this formula down. So its number of transactions for the XRP/INR is 505. This was when I was using Countif with a single condition. Now let's talk about when I have more than one condition to evaluate. Here in the second example that I have category mentioned as well as the transaction type mentioned over here. So here I will be using Countifs. Once I've written that and opened my parenthesis, it says criteria range 1, comma, criteria 1, comma, and then you see 3 dots, which means the rest of the things are optional over here depending upon number of criteria you have that you would want to evaluate. So my range is where my categories are mentioned. My criteria is the one that is I'm wanting to evaluate. My second criteria range is where my transaction types are mentioned, which in this case is column G. And which criteria is it that I want to evaluate here? Which transaction type? The one mentioned in my cell K12. Once I've done that, I close my bracket and let me fix the ranges again. So, okay, this is done. And I just copy it down. Now, since we already have the filter applied here, it's easy for us. For LTC, and we're looking at the buy type, which is it's saying is 272 transactions have taken place. And oh yes, it's 272, the count over here says. So this function is working absolutely fine. This will ease out a lot of your work. This will introduce an efficiency in your work, I would say. You don't have to every time put in a filter, count whatever categories or transaction times you're wanting to count, but a single formula once applied, you can just drag it down and it will automatically update itself. For example, tomorrow if I go ahead and expand this list, and let's just pick up this column over here. Okay, I have this over here and I go ahead and add it here, right? And I add in, for example, let's say 9/11/2017. The date is also mentioned. So my count should have increased for the buy type, right? So let's see over here. This has increased to 273 and this one has increased to 543. So this function is dynamic. Anytime you go ahead and change your range, the function will automatically recalculate the entire thing. You don't have to put in the filter once again and look at your calculations or find the solutions. Give this a try. If you feel you're getting stuck anywhere, just feel free to write in the comment box below. Do let us know if there are any specific videos that you would want us to share with you guys. We'll be happy to do that. Thank you so much and have a great evening, people.